Good evening, and welcome to this special currency market update. Today we are taking a detailed look at two of the most closely followed currencies among international currency investors and speculative traders, the Vietnamese Dong and the Iraqi Dinar. Across online investment communities, social media platforms, banking circles, and economic forums, discussions continue to grow regarding the future direction of these currencies. Possible revaluation scenarios, exchange rate developments, and the broader economic conditions that could influence their value in the months ahead. Let us begin with Iraq, where the Iraqi dinar remains one of the most watched currencies in the world. As of mid-June 2026, the official exchange rate maintained by the Central Bank of Iraq remains near 1,300 Iraqi dinars per US dollar. While some banking and market references continue to report rates between 1,300 and 1,320 dinars per dollar, depending on the institution and transaction type. Recent reports indicate that the central bank continues to defend the official exchange framework while implementing monetary reforms designed to improve financial stability and strengthen confidence in the banking sector. Many investors continue to ask the same question: is a major Iraqi dinar revaluation coming soon? At the moment, there has been no official announcement from the Central Bank of Iraq confirming a sudden revaluation or a dramatic increase in the dinar's value. However, ongoing reforms in Iraq's banking system, digital payment expansion, anti-money laundering initiatives, and efforts to modernize financial infrastructure continue to fuel speculation among dinar holders around the world. Economic analysts point out that Iraq's long-term currency outlook depends heavily on several key factors. The first is oil revenue. Iraq remains one of the world's largest oil exporters, and government revenues are heavily dependent on energy exports. Strong oil prices generally improve government finances and support foreign currency reserves. The second factor is monetary stability. The central bank has consistently emphasized exchange rate stability as a policy objective. The third factor is broader economic diversification. The more Iraq can reduce dependence on oil and develop private sector growth, the stronger the foundations for future currency strength may become. Recent exchange rate reports show that despite fluctuations in parallel markets, the official framework remains largely unchanged. Market participants continue to monitor any signals from the Iraqi government, the central bank, and international financial institutions regarding future monetary policy. For now, stability rather than sudden appreciation remains the dominant theme in Iraq's currency market. Nevertheless, optimism remains among many dinar investors. Supporters of the Iraqi dinar investment thesis argue that Iraq possesses significant natural resources, substantial oil reserves, a strategic geographic location, and a relatively young population. They believe these factors could support economic expansion over the long term. Critics, however, caution that currency revaluations are complex events that require sustained economic strength, fiscal discipline, and confidence from international markets. Turning now to Vietnam, the Vietnamese Dong continues to attract growing international attention as Vietnam strengthens its positions as one of Asia's fastest-growing economies. Manufacturing investment, export growth, technology development, infrastructure expansion, and increasing foreign direct investment continue to support the country's long-term economic outlook. The current market exchange rate for the Vietnamese Dong remains around 26,000 to 26,300 Dong per US dollar, depending on the market and trading platform. Recent market data indicate that the USD-VND exchange rate has remained relatively stable, despite ongoing global economic uncertainties and fluctuations in the US dollar. Over the past year, Vietnam's monetary authorities have focused on maintaining stability while supporting economic growth. The State Bank of Vietnam has continued to manage exchange rate pressures carefully, balancing export competitiveness with inflation control and financial stability. Analysts note that a stable exchange rate environment remains an important component of Vietnam's broader economic strategy. Among currency investors, speculation surrounding a possible Vietnamese Dong revaluation has increased significantly. Social media discussions frequently mention potential future values, ranging from modest appreciation to extremely optimistic projections. However, it is important to distinguish between speculation and official policy. At present, there has been no official announcement from the State Bank of Vietnam indicating a dramatic revaluation of the currency. Instead, policymakers continue to focus on gradual stability and economic growth. Economic experts generally agree that Vietnam's strongest currency supporting factors include continued export growth, increasing foreign direct investment, expanding manufacturing capacity, rising tourism activity, and integration into global supply chains. Vietnam has become a preferred destination for many multinational corporations seeking production diversification, and this trend continues to attract investment into the country. Several major financial institutions have suggested that while the Vietnamese Dong may experience periods of appreciation and depreciation, large-scale overnight revaluations are unlikely under normal market conditions. Instead, gradual adjustments reflecting economic fundamentals are generally considered more probable. Forecasts released by financial institutions indicate expectations for relative stability in the Vietnamese currency market during 2026. When comparing the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong, investors often focus on one key issue: which currency has greater long-term appreciation potential? The answer depends on investment assumptions. The Iraqi Dinar story is often centered around reconstruction, oil wealth, and economic reform. The Vietnamese Dong story is centered around manufacturing growth, export expansion, and increasing global economic integration. Supporters of the dinar argue that Iraq's resource wealth provides substantial long-term upside potential. Supporters of the Dong point to Vietnam's sustained economic growth and increasing importance in international trade. Both currencies therefore attract different types of investors with different expectations and risk tolerances. One important development to watch during the remainder of 2026 is global monetary policy. Interest rate decisions by major central banks, particularly the U.S. Federal Reserve, can significantly influence emerging market currencies. A stronger U.S. dollar can create pressure on both the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong. Conversely, periods of dollar weakness can provide greater flexibility for emerging market currencies. Analysts continue to monitor inflation trends, global trade conditions, and geopolitical developments that could influence foreign exchange markets worldwide. Investors are also paying close attention to foreign exchange reserves. Strong reserves provide central banks with greater ability to manage exchange rate volatility. Both Iraq and Vietnam have placed considerable emphasis on maintaining stability and confidence in their respective financial systems. Another major topic of discussion among currency watchers is the possibility of increased international banking integration. In Iraq, banking modernization initiatives continue to attract attention from investors who believe stronger financial infrastructure could eventually support broader economic development. In Vietnam, continued financial sector modernization supports the country's expanding role in regional and global commerce. As we move through the second half of 2026, several developments deserve close monitoring. For Iraq, investors should watch oil prices, government revenues, foreign reserves, banking reforms, and official central bank communications. For Vietnam, attention should remain focused on export performance, manufacturing growth, foreign investment inflows, exchange rate management, and overall economic expansion. It is important to emphasize that neither the Central Bank of Iraq nor the State Bank of Vietnam has announced a sudden revaluation that would dramatically alter current exchange rates. Current official and market data continue to indicate managed stability rather than extraordinary overnight appreciation. Investors should therefore approach rumors and unverified claims with caution and rely on official information whenever possible. Looking ahead, the Iraqi dinar remains supported by Iraq's strategic importance in global energy markets and ongoing economic reforms. Meanwhile, the Vietnamese Dong remains supported by one of Asia's strongest long-term growth stories, driven by exports, manufacturing, and foreign investment. For investors, the key takeaway is that both currencies remain closely tied to broader economic fundamentals. Sustainable currency appreciation typically follows sustained economic progress, improvements in productivity, stronger institutions, healthy foreign reserves, and investor confidence. While speculation about major revaluations will undoubtedly continue, the most reliable indicators remain official policy decisions, economic performance, and measurable financial developments. As of today, the latest widely reported exchange rate references indicate the Iraqi dinar remains near 1,300 IQD per US dollar under the official framework, while the Vietnamese Dong trades around 26,300 VND per US dollar in international currency markets. These figures continue to reflect current monetary policy conditions rather than any extraordinary revaluation event. That concludes today's comprehensive update on the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese Dong. Currency markets remain dynamic, economic reforms continue to evolve, and investors around the world will be watching closely for the next major developments. Whether you follow Iraq's reconstruction story or Vietnam's economic expansion, the months ahead promise to bring important updates that could shape the future direction of both currencies. Thank you for joining us for this special report, and we will continue to monitor every significant development affecting the Iraqi dinar, the Vietnamese Dong, and the global foreign exchange market.